Is Lincoln Riley Pete Carroll though?
I don't. I think people thought he was.
Yeah, I think he's a quarterback whispering type. Maybe I don't even know if his developing of a quarterback is as good as his recruiting of a quarterback, like attracting and recruiting a quarterback. But I don't think he's quite Pete Carroll.
All right, welcome to the Waterboys College Football Show. We're gonna want to give a big shout out to Steve. He is not here. Bad weather where he is. So thoughts and prayers with Steve. Hope everything is going well.
I just when he texted us telling us about the storm that was going on, I just had Lieutenant Dan in my brain at the top of the Jenny in the middle of that storm, just screaming into the wind. I don't know why.
He made his peace with God.
He made his peace with God.
A lot of things on the show tonight. First thing we're going to get to will be coaches in the hot seat. We're also going to talk ESPN put out teams to watch in the 2025 season. Travis Hunter did one of the coolest things that any number one or first round draft pick that is probably going to change the way the position is played. Did something. We need to talk more about it when we get to it. College football, this is the way it's supposed to be done. So we're going to talk a little bit about Travis Hunter. Will Bill Belichick make it to week 1 at North Carolina? A lot of reports out there. And then hottest topic, NFL is going after the college football playoff viewers this season by putting a game in week 17. And we have thoughts. All right, coaches on the hot seat. I took several different publications and kind of put together their list of coaches in the hot seat. We'll run through the list real quick and then kind of talk through how hot is that seat. Lincoln Riley at USC, Brent Venables at Oklahoma, Mike Norvell at Florida State, Luke Fikell at Wisconsin, Sam Pittman at Arkansas. I think Lincoln Riley last year went 7-6. His buyout is $90 million.
My God.
Here's what I feel happened with Lincoln Riley. Obviously left Oklahoma. I live in Oklahoma. It was the biggest thing that happened in college football that year.
Yeah.
It was, I think, even as Ohio State fan, I think any fan base that has had like consistent coaching, you look at schools like Oklahoma, Ohio State, Alabama, these are schools you don't leave unless they tell you have to.
Yeah.
Like
especially when you have number 1 overall draft pick, Heisman winning quarterback.
And you just come off of two Heisman trophies. Then you brought in Jalen Hurts and you made him a first round draft pick. And then you got Caleb Williams coming in. You got athletes all over the field. You inherited a program, maybe the best inherited program any coach in the modern era has ever walked into, where you got to be an offensive coordinator under a college football coaching legend, and then got to kind of recraft the way that offense is played as a coordinator, learn, and then take over the program. I think he really thought that USC was going to be a way that he could have his stamp on college football by taking that program and, doing what, had been done previously with USC, where they kind of had been doing this. He thought, I could bring them back to relevancy. I think the grass was greener.
Is Lincoln Riley Pete Carroll though?
I think people thought he was.
Yeah. I think he's a quarterback whispering type. Maybe. I don't even know if his developing of a quarterback is as good as his recruiting of a quarterback, like attracting and recruiting a quarterback. But I don't think he's quite Pete Carroll to be able to have a consistently solid program at the University of Southern California.
It's a lot harder job than people think it is. You're competing for eyeballs in a city that always has things going on, that has NFL teams and NBA teams and MLB teams. And you got to convince people that rather than go to watch the Dodgers or go to watch, the Rams or the Clippers or the Lakers, that they'll come out on Saturday and sweat it out in the Coliseum. I think it's a lot harder thing than he thought. And Pete Carroll was a magnetic personality
Yeah.
who could motivate people, and he was a little Hollywood, and he enjoyed the LA limelight. Lincoln's a like shy kind of introvert.
Yeah.
It never made sense in my head that it was going to work.
Yeah. It was a shock when it happened because like I don't know why, but Lincoln Riley just screamed OU football to me. Like he was like the quintessential like Oklahoma head coach. Um and it just felt right when he was there, and then like I was shocked. And honestly, like there was a piece of me that got a little bit concerned for like the future of coaching in college football because like you mentioned, like if there's going to be enough money to attract a coach to leave one juggernaut program to go to another, what could happen at Ohio State? What could happen at, Notre Dame, any of these other blue blood schools, Georgia, Alabama, you name it. Is there going to be another school out there that's going to fork over the money to take your coach from them? And then he went out there and kind of had a little bit of a stinker in his first season. And then last year was no better at all. Which I
No.
mean, you're in the Big Ten now. You're playing big boy football, but it
Yeah.
is a little different. But I don't know. There was just something that was just like it just didn't feel right. It just doesn't. It's just not there for me.
And he's an amazing recruiter. He's
Yeah.
always going to be able to have talent all over the field. Um, he has a hard job. Now I've scaled these on a 1 to 5. I got him at a 2.
Yeah.
It probably is closer to a 3. But that $90 million buyout,
That's a lot of money.
I mean, that's rumor.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what the real number is.
I think too, the Pac-12 dissolving and them joining the Big Ten earned him an extra year. So
Yeah.
I do agree with your 2 out of 5 on that because of that conference switch, and they have to like Rutgers is in New Jersey, and they're in the same conference as a team in Los Angeles, Pasadena.
It's a rough schedule. I mean,
How do you make that trip? That's 4 time zones. Like when this happened, when those teams joined the Big Ten, Oregon, USC, UCLA, like when it happened, I was like, what? How's this going to work?
because it's
Like-
like it's a hard it made recruiting at like Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana that becomes a plus because you get to tell parents like, hey, we go out to California, we go
Yeah.
out to Oregon.
Yeah, CJ Stroud was a Rancho Cucamonga graduate,
Yeah,
which is right there in the Inland Empire in not northern California, but like a little bit north of like LA. And so if you tell their parents, "Hey, we're going to be in your state for at least one game a year."
yeah.
That's an easy sell.
But it's on the flip side, you got to tell you're gonna obviously you're gonna always try to recruit California hard because
Yeah.
I mean it's just
So many athletes. It's
unbelievable high school football played in California, and now you got to tell kids they never had to play at the big house in November.
it snows sometimes.
Yeah, I mean
It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's a different it's different culture. Like
Yeah.
it's
A lot
just,
of cheese and a lot of beer.
yeah, it's just a hard sell. I've got Eric Bieniemy down as his possible replacement. I actually think it's a decent fit.
I like it. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Eric Bieniemy, but that's just because of his Chiefs
Right.
his Chiefs tenure. Do you see that? You see that clip that came out with him at rookie minicamp in Chicago? Yelling. I didn't even see a cone move. Who was he yelling at?
I'm not sure what
I don't think anybody touched the cone. And he's like, "Get off my cones! Don't touch the cone." I'm like, "Nobody touched the cone, coach."
sometimes coaches need a reason to yell.
That's true. And Eric Bieniemy seems like the kind of guy, kind of a not like a rah, but like a I'll get in your face if I have to,
Yeah,
but we'll also smile with you.
Little Dan Campbell.
Yeah, definitely. I like that fit, Eric Bieniemy at USC. That would be an easy switch too, because he's an offensive guy.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't have to worry about, your team learning some. I don't know. I don't know how it's not quite the same in college football as it is like in the NFL. Like you want to have an offensive minded head coach because like defensive coordinators, That's a whole different conversation. I don't know if it's quite the same in college football, but Eric Bieniemy would be a good replacement.
Brent Venables at Oklahoma last year, 6-7. Brent has had 3 bad years. Now he had a 10 and like 2 year or whatever, but it could have just as easily been a 6-7, 6-6 year because they won a bunch of trash games really late. What the Brent took two things either happened. Either Oklahoma made a knee jerk reaction and hired Brent Venables because he's a program guy. You know, he won a national championship under Bob, and you needed a coach. So you went out and got a guy that's going to calm the fan base down and the boosters are going to like, and that's great. He also, when he came in, the cupboard was very bare. And, you know, they lost a ton of guys to transfer portal. And, you know, that's not typical at Oklahoma to have to go through that. So I think that bought him probably a little bit of time. But, you know, they're picked to, you know, finish in some polls as high as top 10. There's some people, some, you know, college football experts, whatever that word means, that have them as a sleeper pick for a national championship because of their roster, and they have Mateer. So you don't have a lot of excuses if you're Brent this year.
Yeah.
You arguably might have the best quarterback in the country.
I am excited to see his development this season.
Yeah, I mean, what he did at Washington was, I mean, he was great. There's not a lot of TV. You know, it's Washington State. Like, there's not a lot of TV. His offensive coordinator came with him. So, you know, I've got it at a 2 because Oklahoma normally will give coaches a lot more leeway than other big schools that will just move off really quick. So I've got him at a 2.
Yeah, that one, I feel like Brent Venables also is kind of getting a little bit lucky with another year from kind of that move into the SEC, right? Like switching the conference kind of grants him an extra year on this. But I don't know. I've got so many Oklahoma fans that I'm friends with, you know, like even before I met Aaron, like I still had friends that were Oklahoma fans just because I grew up in Northwest Arkansas, and they were excited about the Brent Venables hiring. I was excited for them. And it's been weird, I think, for everyone involved. It just hasn't worked out the way that I think Oklahoma's wanted it to work out, and Clemson hasn't been the same since Brent left there. So it's just like it's one of those weird things. It was like, this probably shouldn't have happened. They forced something that didn't need to happen. But I think you're right. Like, I think this is a year where it's kind of like all right, you better show me, or you're gone, or you're going to have a minuscule leash.
Yeah. And he's a defensive guy. You came from the best offensive mind in college football. And then, you know, the fan base has to make a big switch. And I told fans when he came, I said, this team is going to look very different.
Yeah, you're not going to see Baker Mayfield throw 7 touchdown passes. No. You're not going to see that kind of OU anymore.
No, Brent likes punch in the mouth defense, and he's an amazing defensive mind. And, you know, he's, like I said, Clemson hadn't been the same. They haven't had that swagger, you know, type of thing on defense. So, he does have to have figured out. I have Jeff Lebby down as his replacement. I just think that it's a cop-out. It's a chalk pick. He was just there, and it makes sense.
He knows all the people. Everybody knows. He knows all the people that he needs to know in the building. That makes sense.
Mike Norvell at Florida State, his buyout's crazy, $63 million. So he's probably getting a lot more leeway than he should. They've had 2 really bad years.
Really bad years.
I mean, 2-10. You started as a top
10. We're top 5.
Yeah, it was
last year.
Top 5 last year, and you didn't win a game for weeks.
So, it was bad. It was really bad.
And Florida State needs to be good because it's good for college football when Florida State is good.
Yeah.
There's something about the uniform,
the traditions.
They're great for college football.
Yeah, and what else are people doing in Tallahassee?
Not a lot. There's not a lot.
And you're going to run their Saturdays too in the fall. Like, I think this might be a 5 on the hot seat because it's like, Have you met people in the Florida Panhandle?
They're not real happy.
If you ruin their Saturday afternoon in October, they're not going to be very happy.
And
So
Florida State, people that haven't been there or aren't Florida State. It's not Miami, and
no,
it's not Florida.
no,
It's the South. The
yeah,
Panhandle of Florida is as southern as grits, and they like their college football.
yes,
And I think if you put a true serum in Florida State, if they had to do it all over again, they would have brought Dion into Florida State.
man,
What he's done with Colorado and
yeah,
the is reviving a program that was in the dog bowl.
the worst of college football.
I mean, it would have everything you'd have had every game would have been nationally televised. Dion, maybe the best guy to ever put on a uniform at that school is on the sideline coaching. Everything would have been awesome.
Yeah.
And you didn't think he could come from JSU and coach big time big boy football.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of a shot in the dark here. But just ride with me. You know how Dion has had Lil Wayne walk out of the tunnel with the CU players? If he was at Florida State, you think he'd have T-Pain?
Please.
The Tallahassee hero? Oh, that'd be so cool.
And it's close, it's close enough to Atlanta. There'd have been a lot of you'd have had a lot of that Atlanta culture.
Yeah.
People, it would have been it'd have been a lot of, hip hop artists, movies, pop culture, athletes.
Yeah.
They would have wanted to be a part of the Florida State program, and it would have just been really cool. And if you could put a buyout together, you might get a reset on it. Cause I think if I don't care what the year Colorado has, if you can put you can put something together, I think Dion at least takes the phone call.
Yeah, but you're going to have enough money left if you have to have a $63 million buyout and then somehow afford to get Dion away from Colorado?
No, I think you're probably stuck with him for another 2 years. I have it at a 3. It should probably be a 4. You're probably stuck with him for another few years. And you kind of just hope that he can have some 50-50 years. So the program is not in shambles by the time you got to replace him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just looking at this list of guys here, not to spoil the rest of the list, but we're looking at, Luke Fikell, Sam Pittman, 5-7, 6-6. Brent Venables was 6-7. Lincoln Riley was 7-6 last year. Mike Norvell was 2-10. It's not like Florida State's close.
No,
they are bad.
They're light years away from being competitive.
Embarrassingly bad. I can't believe they played in Ireland last year.
Yeah.
Right? They were the Dublin game?
Yep.
Yeah. Why are we letting the worst of us go overseas and try to get them to become football fans? What are we doing? That cannot happen. You cannot have, but it happens all the time, right? Like you just preseason rankings. They're like, oh, this is one of the top 10 best teams in the country. And then they go and drop a turd on the 50-yard line every Saturday. It's just, I think you're right. I think a 4 or a 5 is probably better here because they haven't been close, and they're not Brent Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Arkansas, USC. They're in tough conferences.
Yes,
Florida State is not.
No
offense to our friends out there on the Atlantic coast. Florida State is not in a tough conference. So it's everywhere you look at it, it's bad. But that $63 million number it's
wild that's what you paid him.
I would take it.
I mean, and you're probably going to have 2 lame duck seasons where for all intents and purposes, he's already been replaced. You just can't afford to kick him yet.
Yeah. But then how far behind are you, though, when it comes to recruiting and getting the replacements players on the roster? It's just Florida State's in an ugly situation. The more I sit and kind of think about it, it's just it's not looking good. Not looking good for Florida State.
Last 2 real quick. Luke Fikell at Wisconsin, Sam Pittman at Arkansas. Both these schools have one thing in common, which is those fan bases think that those schools should compete for national championships. Both of those schools, have had so many 9 and 10 win seasons where you thought they were going to get close, and then they couldn't, and they were always replacing coaches quicker than they should, or they're making hires and recycling guys that have been there before, and then they come back.
Yeah.
I mean, I got Bobby Petrino down as a replacement of Arkansas, kind of as a joke.
Oh, that is obvious. That's why they brought him back. Dude, growing up in that state, like that's where my home is. My heart's in Columbus, Ohio, obviously, but I am a born and bred Razorback fan. So I always want the Hogs to be good. And we were getting to the pinnacle when Bobby Petrino was the head coach there. And then he gets on a freaking motorcycle with some blondie in Elkins, Arkansas, of all places, gets in a wreck and ruins that program for over a decade. Just the worst thing possible. So the fact that they even brought him back to be their offensive coordinator, just in case Sam Pittman isn't quite what they were hoping he was, tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, they want the Petrino years back.
Absolutely. I would. My dad. I know he's watching this. If Bobby Petrino comes back, Hogs are gonna be real good again, and we're gonna have some fun in Fayetteville.
And
but
listen, of all the fan bases, because my granddad was diehard Razorback fan.
Yeah,
and I grew up a Hog fan as well. There's not a fan base that
long suffering
a national championship more. No fan base supports their school better than Arkansas supports Arkansas.
Man, yeah, it's so true too. We have I'm going to a graduation party for one of my high school students from my church that's graduating this year. She's actually going to Arkansas, and I was telling her I'm going to wear my Razorback shirt when I come to your graduation party, and I'm going to teach you how to call the Hogs.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, I'm so excited, but why did they do it for so long? And I was like, you are going to learn. In the fourth quarter, when we're up 3 points over LSU in the Battle of the Boot, and LSU just called a timeout, and we are calling the Hogs, you are going to understand why it lasts so long.
Yes.
It is true. Like Arkansas, yeah, the fan base, just the school, everything else is good in Arkansas. Good basketball, good track and field, good baseball, good softball. But the one sport that is the most popular is the one that everyone wants to be good at the most. And we're just not quite there every year.
If you're a big college football fan, you're watching and listening to the show, do yourself a favor and just go to one Hog football game.
Yeah,
and
you have to.
When it gets in your blood, you go, okay, I get it. I get it.
There's maybe 5 campuses in the country, too, that are prettier than the University of Arkansas.
Yeah, maybe.
The Hill in Fayetteville.
Yep.
And while you're there, you got to go to Foghorns. Get you some
go.
chicken wings.
There you go. All right, real quick. Travis Hunter graduates with degree from Colorado, goes back to Colorado to walk. This story is not getting enough attention nationally. We complain about college athletes. We complain about how entitled college football players specifically are. And we are not highlighting this is a 4.0 student.
Anthropology?
Who played both sides of the football. So he really wasn't getting any sort of break at all in the film room or anything else. And then said, I know I'm, getting drafted, but I'm excited to go walk at Colorado. They could have just mailed him his diploma, and he was like, "No, I want to go back and walk." And I just want us as a show, Travis, that it's one of the coolest things I've seen in a long, long time. That guys with that kind of hype coming into the NFL, that you tell national television in your interview I'm excited to go back and walk, and he did.
Yeah. Man, Travis Hunter is the best of us.
He is.
Truly the best. I just went to his Twitch profile. He's got 126,000 followers on Twitch, where he streams video games and still maintains a 4.0 in anthropology and still was a two-way starter at the University at Colorado and won the freaking Heisman.
We don't deserve Travis Hunter as college football fans.
He is the best of us. And regardless of what you think about the Colorado football program, regardless of what you think about Shedeur Sanders and all that and Coach Prime and everything, Travis Hunter is the real deal.
How many seasons till he's a Walter Payton Man of the Year?
3.
Yeah.
He's got to get and, figure things out in Duval County, but once he, dude, and the fact that he's at Jacksonville where he can just go and have the time of his life.
Oh, he'll be the mayor of Jacksonville by the end of the second season.
Yeah, just dude, this picture that they have on this Fox Sports article, he's just all smiles.
Yeah, he's no one happier to play football.
And it's true too, like if there's anyone in college football that didn't need to go to class and worry about their academics, it's the guy that wins the Heisman Trophy.
Could have been a communications major and no one just
made a deal with his teachers. I'll give you, here's a piece of my NIL money. Just give me a C.
Yep.
Right. But he just, Travis Hunter has never, I don't think he has ever taken the easy way out in any part of his life ever. And it's obvious after you see kind of what his last 700 days of life have looked like.
Yeah. He's everything you would want. And if you're a parent, your kid, push your kid to model that if you can, because he's everything that we used to love about college football that is still there. We've just kind of let some of the big dog media convince us that there's not a lot of good kids in college football, and the truth is there's majority of them are good kids.
Yeah, most of them are.
So big shout out to Travis. So CBS, or let's see, I think SI.com originally is where I saw this article. They think there's a real chance Bill Belichick doesn't coach UNC week 1. So this drama just continues to get weirder. It just continues to get weirder. I have a hard time believing, Pablo Torre, I think he was on ESPN maybe, and said that he had, under good authority, quote, real chance Bill Belichick does not coach week 1 at UNC. If somehow this happens, this is the biggest travesty to happen in college football in the last 10 years, because I want so badly to see Bill Belichick coach on the sideline at North Carolina. How much validity do you think there actually is to that? Is week 1 is, I think yesterday we were 106 days, so 105 days away from the first college football game.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's amazing. I love that. That gave me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Billboard on the highway. I passed by Brittany's like, thank God.
Woo.
His son is there. That's the only thing that makes me think maybe there may be some validity to this. Is he did bring in the guy that I thought at the beginning he was going to eventually hand the program over to.
Yeah, but before you ever coach a single game,
that would be wild.
Honestly, like, this is one of those things. There's a lot of stuff that happens in pop culture, and people will learn this about me over time. I don't care about a lot of stuff that happens, right? Like, did you see what Livy Dunn was wearing at the Met Gala? I don't even know if she went to the Met Gala, right? Like, there's just some things that involve sports and athletics that are like adjacent to sports culture that I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about Jordan Hudson. I don't care about their relationship whatsoever. I care about good football, and Bill Belichick has won 7 Super Bowls. So obviously he knows what good football looks like. And there might be a chance that we get good football from UNC this year if everyone will just shut up and leave the man alone.
Yes.
Like, that's where I'm at this point. The distraction isn't his 24-year-old girlfriend. The distraction is the media calling and requesting interviews every 7 hours. I just typed in Bill Belichick on Google. 2 hours ago, New York Post. 1 hour ago, the Daily Mail. 16 hours ago, Fox News. 13 hours ago, ESPN. 8 hours ago, The Defector. Never even heard of that news outlet.
If you want clicks, though, right now, Something with
Bill
Bill
Belichick.
Belichick.
Talk about Bill Belichick.
We've done it on our.
We have done it.
We've done it on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. If you want clicks. Now, the weird thing is the way that his contract is constructed, his buyout right now is $10 million. June 1st, it drops to $1 million. So it really is going to come down to.
That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah. If you're North Carolina, listen, just ignore the noise. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like it does not matter. The best coach you've had is Mac Brown, who was 100 years old and way past his coaching prime. Let the man coach. Just ignore it.
It's crazy. I think like if Patrick Mahomes can win AFC championship after AFC championship after AFC championship with the family that he's surrounded with, I think Bill Belichick is going to be able to handle coaching a college football team with a 24-year-old girlfriend on. Will she be on the sideline? Will she be in a box? I don't care. Wherever she's at, if Bill Belichick's coaching, there's probably going to be some good football. There's going to be a good product on the field.
100%. Yeah.
It's just,
so
I honestly wish, like, I don't mind us talking about it. I just wish everybody else would shut up about it.
I just don't. The fact that I know when I turn on ESPN or FS1 in the morning that it's going to be a story, I'm just tired of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the part that's just getting old. It's like, all right, come on. We're NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are about to enter into round 3. NBA playoffs are about to enter into round 3. Like, there's some actual sports going on right now. The Royals look real good this year. Bobby Baseball chasing that MVP again. Like, cover something that people actually care about.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe people care about
That's
this.
The problem is, I think there's a segment of people who are not college football fans that it's like the Real Housewives of Atlanta type thing or something, and they're like, "Ooh, drama."
Well, Secret Life of Mormon Wives is back on.
There you go,
Hulu Flicks or whatever. Go watch that.
There you go. You got plenty of that.
There you go.
Last thing tonight in 2025, this was a copy and paste from Peacock. In 2025, the NFL will feature a special Saturday night doubleheader in Week 16 with the Eagles facing the Commanders and the Packers playing the Bears. Additionally, Week 17 will have a primetime game on Saturday, exclusive to Peacock, and the Peacock holiday exclusive will be selected from a pool of key NFL Week 17 matchups. Unless my math is wrong, this is right in the middle of the college football playoff.
It is.
I do not understand. I'm assuming, and I didn't Google it, I'm assuming the college football playoff viewer numbers must have been unbelievable. If the NFL looked at it and said, we need some of these numbers. And they didn't put slouch games in there. Eagles, Commanders, that's two teams with, one team that outperformed.
Oh, my God. First round averaged... Where are we at? I literally just had it. First round averaged 10.6 million viewers, with the quarterfinals at 16.9 million. And the semifinals averaged 19.2 million, which is, they're saying, was a 17% decline from the year before. And then the national championship was 29 million.
And what that tells me is even the fans of the teams that lost, still the next week we're watching college football.
22.1 million viewers for the national championship.
I just, I don't understand it. As a Bears fan, I don't want to have to pick. I like having that, I'm only going to watch the Bears on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to, if things fall right. Either way, I'd be watching the college football playoff. But let's say it falls right and Oklahoma does have the year that I hope that they have. And now I got to have split screen on YouTube TV of my Bears game with a college football playoff game. I don't know if it's the NFL is trying to send a message or what it is. But this used to be a no-no.
I think the thing that's getting out of hand to me is your week 17 game is at 49ers.
Yeah, so I'll be watching that game too.
It's a Sunday night football game. But week 16 is Week 16 is Green Bay
That's what I'm saying. Like what
at Soldier Field.
I mean, with two young quarterbacks, that rivalry is almost like brand new, shiny now.
Yep.
Caleb Williams is 1-0 against the Packers. So, it's all if they hadn't put Eagles, Commanders, Bears, Packers, week 16, I would have said the NFL is not trying to send a message. But you put those games where you've got teams with young quarterbacks, the Super Bowl champs are playing. It to me sounds like you're sending a message to college football. I just don't understand what the message is you're trying to send.
That's absolutely right. And I was actually thinking about this when I was looking at the show notes earlier this week, just trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about tonight. And I'm like, why does it feel like the NFL and college football are the only two college and pro sports that don't work together? Or don't take each other into account. I know it's different for baseball and basketball because they have so many games, but I never feel like I have in March Madness during the tournament in college basketball, I don't feel like they're competing for games.
No,
with the NBA, it just doesn't. That's not a thing that I feel like we experience, right? The College World Series, right? I never feel, and baseball is a whole different thing. It just feels like, and maybe it's the nature of the fact that football is only, you get 17 games in the NFL to figure it out. If you make it to the postseason, whatever. In college football, you have to win at least, there are 17 potential games that you could play, and maybe it's the nature of there being so few games, but it just feels like if you want more football fans, you got to allow the viewership to be on other stuff.
Yeah, and you've already taken other nights because, growing up, we had Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Then we added Thursday,
which is always the worst.
It's a terrible game.
Yep.
And college football has had a few Friday night late games.
BYU really is only one.
Yeah, Oklahoma did one, I think, last year, the year before, but it was because it was one of those games where they weren't going to be able to get it on TV.
Yeah.
Because it was a terrible, out of conference game or whatever. So they moved it to Friday. But college football has not been infringing on the nights that the NFL does well.
No, never.
And it hasn't, with the Thursday nights, has not worked out long term well. It's the thing I complain about as an NFL fan the most is I don't need this Thursday night game.
I will say Amazon Prime has been doing a good job.
They do a great job. It's just the games are awful.
Yeah. And it's because it's a short week. It's always you play a Sunday afternoon game and then you have to prepare and travel by that Thursday. You're not going to get a good game out of it ever.
I just think it's going to backfire for the NFL.
It's not a hard decision for me.
No, it's really
granted. Week 17, the Broncos are playing the Chiefs on Christmas, so it's not that big of a deal for me. It's not gonna be not gonna be hard because I think it's a Thursday this year,
right?
So that's not. I'm not. I don't have an issue with that. It's easy for me. But regardless, I love to watch pro football all the time. In my spare time, I run an NFL page where I talk about the Denver Broncos and the NFL, right? I love having eyes on the NFL, but when the NFL is deciding to also play games on the same day that there are college football playoff games, not a hard choice at all. And I would venture to say that most football fans, I understand that there's football fans out there, but they're football fans. it's not a hard choice for them either, unless they're one of their teams are one of the teams that is going to be playing at that time.
The only thing, and I was just thinking this, the only thing about it that I think is you're cheating fans is that Bears Packers game. There is a lot of Ohio State and Michigan fans that their NFL team is either the Bears or the Packers.
Yeah.
That there's a lot. I mean, I have people I know. You know, they're not a lot of whole like the Illini and the
Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, you're really you got 3 college football fan bases right there that their NFL team is probably either the Bears or the Packers, and now you're going to put this rivalry game on.
Yeah.
And those 3 teams might, depending on how their year goes, I know at least 2 of the 3 in my mind are probably going to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And if Michigan is not, they're still,
especially that round.
Yeah. I mean, it's just bad. And I don't get it. And I think I think the NFL is losing things by trying to have so many games, so many nights. It's one of those things where you go, we kind of like that we get to look. We don't like initially you'd be like, oh man, I was just NFL every night. If you thought about it for a minute though, you go, I kind of like that. Like my Sunday is just locked down.
Yeah, it's one day,
like end to end, and then Monday night I get this thing on Monday night.
Yeah, Friday nights I tune into my high school's YouTube channel to watch my alma mater play. Saturdays, I'm watching my Buckeyes, and I'm following along with my college team, the William Jewell Cardinals, on my phone. Sundays, after church, I'm racing home to try to find the Broncos game. Unless they play on one of the other nights, then I'm just, relaxing and checking my fantasy scores. But that's how my weekend is structured.
Yeah.
And if Roger Goodell thinks that he can just come in and ruin that. And another thing too, like a piece of this is like, you wonder why when a team makes their second round draft pick and the fans that are there at the draft are like, who's that guy? You want to know what would help that? Not playing NFL games the same time that there are future NFL draft picks playing their games in college. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. Roger.
Roger, not a good decision.
What are we doing, dude? Pull your head out of your ass.
We kind of like that there are so many games on Sunday that it's hard to keep up. We like it. I enjoy it, that I literally am flipping between games.
Yeah.
Going, this is crazy. There's so many games on that I don't know what to do. I enjoy that.
Yeah. Are they gonna lower the price of NFL Sunday ticket by 2 games on those weekends? Absolutely not. It's the same thing when you order a cheeseburger from a restaurant and you want to add a fried egg on top. It's going to cost $2 extra. But if you want to take the cheese and the lettuce and the tomato and everything that comes on the burger off, you're still going to pay the same freaking price. It's the same thing with the NFL Sunday ticket. Like, of course they're going to get theirs regardless, even if they're only offering 2 fewer games on that Sunday. That just drives. We are this close from pay-per-view NFL games.
Oh no, I don't think we're even. Somebody will come up with an idea.
It already happened with the Netflix thing.
Yep.
And Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. How many people have that?
Well,
a lot of people have it.
Well, they have Amazon Prime. They just figured out they had Prime Video 2 years ago when we found out there was going to be Thursday night games on Amazon. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, how many people subscribe to Prime though? Like, to be able to watch that.
Well, not if the games are like they were last year. There's a lot of people that go, I just skip Thursday night game.
Honestly,
it's not good. It's bad.
Yeah, I watched Bo Nix just drop one right in between 2 wide open receivers in New Orleans last year. And I was like, oh my God, I hate Thursday night games.
It's like a curse. If your team plays on Thursday, you're like, we're gonna play bad. We're just gonna play bad.
It's the worst.
So, all right. Next week on the show, what makes a college football jersey iconic? We're gonna do a discussion about the best college football jerseys of all time. Steve will be back on the show, and we're excited about it. All right.
Are helmet stickers included in that conversation? Stay tuned.
Ooh, good call. All right.